Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 83, and today I am going to do something that I'm sure is going to make a lot of you commenters very, very happy. You guys have been requesting it for probably about the past, I would say 10 episodes. I'd say 10 episodes is probably about right. This thing right here. My tiny little map, I have been told that I should update it. Now, I actually don't know how to update it. How does one update a map? How do I map my base? Has that done it? Oh, I'm gonna have to look this up. Well, I would say that's it updated. I mean, it doesn't look that spectacular from up in the sky, so I'm almost tempted to actually get my own map and do like a mini map of my base. I don't know what you guys are asking for. You're either asking me to update this map, which I think I've done, or asking me to actually get a map and map out the base. I think I'm going to do both. And 3, 2, 1. Whoa, look at that thing. That looks amazing. I mean, it's only covering like a tiny, tiny little section of my base, but I do think that we should map the entire thing. I was not expecting it to look that detailed. Holy mackerel. I have no clue if I'm doing this correctly, so I've scaled this one out, so we now have this going on. I now have this map over here that I think I need to scale out as well, and hopefully that should match up with the edge of this thing. Whew, I don't know, I've never done this before. I think I might have just done it, so this should be the full base all mapped out. Honestly, I seem to be absolutely terrible at this. Thank goodness I'm not responsible for mapping the entire Hermitcraft server, because it'd take me about 4 weeks. I think I just have to load up all this area and that should be us done. One little bit of leather. Oh, 2 bits of leather. And hopefully another couple. I had absolutely no leather in my base, and we need this stuff for all of the item frames. You know what, while I'm at it, you can die as well. Sorry, mate. So that one goes in the top left. This one goes down at the bottom there. Then this one right here is going to go there. And this one goes up at the top. It's not exactly centralized, but there's nothing you can do about that with maps. But it does look pretty impressive, doesn't it? I can't wait to start getting things in this section. Anyway, aside from all that map making stuff, we're now going to start work on another layer of the labyrinth. And we're also going to go back to some of the previous layers and add some bits and pieces that are going to make them slightly more exciting and add some variety between all of the layers. But this one is going to be completely different. We're going to be going back to the invisible maze concept. Now, I know I said that I hated this. I absolutely despise it in a recent episode because it was just so frustrating. But that's because I was working in a massive, massive area. Whereas someone let me know down in the comment section that it would be a cool idea to kind of section it off so that you have 4 different sections that you have to get through before you reach the end. So essentially, you're only solving this tiny little area, and then once you get to the end, you pop on through this door, and then you solve this area, and then you solve the next one, and so on and so forth. It basically chunks it down so that it makes it a little bit easier to solve, so you don't have to keep going back on yourself. Stage 1 is now complete, and I've just done a quick playtest, and it worked really quite nicely. It took about 2 or 3 minutes to solve, which is pretty much perfect for me, because I would say that's just between difficult, but not really horrendously frustrating. The previous design, where this entire thing was just one massive invisible maze, that was really, really frustrating. And I think part of that could be due to the fact that I was using fences as opposed to cobblestone walls. Some of you let me know down in the comment section that cobble walls are actually better for this sort of thing because their hitbox is different, so you don't get stuck on them as you walk past, which is a good tip. It has worked wonders, and it makes this thing a lot less annoying. So let's design the entire thing. My friends, is that. This thing is entirely built. We have got 4 invisible mazes all ready to go, all of them great fun. I playtested the entire thing, and it's not frustrating in the slightest, I'm happy to say. So let's gather up some resources and try our best to build this thing on the Hermitcraft server. Yeah, I'll be honest, I think I might have just crafted up way too many cobblestone walls. What on earth was I thinking? I mean, what makes me think that I'm going to need over 20 stacks of cobblestone walls to do this? Despite the fact that I dug out this entire hole with a silk touch pickaxe, I have actually run out of stone again. I'm starting to see why you guys find it frustrating that I just seem to leave all of my items on the floor during those time lapses. Let's go on a bit of a mining session. Part 1 of this build has been constructed. We have got all of the sections in place. We've got all of the stone slabs. I've just placed those in on the floor. We've got all the walls in. So now everything is segmented and ready to go. I've also gone out and gathered a whole bunch of wool. So we have all the white carpets. You saw that I've got all of the cobblestone walls. And we have all of the designs in the redstone testing world. So I know how to build this thing. I would say we're ready to start doing this. I have no clue where to start, though. Where am I meant to start? Now, I thought this would look just a tiny bit better in the form of a third-person time-lapse. So while we do that, I thought I'd do a quick time-lapse chat. This time, I'm actually going to be talking about the maze project itself, because, as you guys know, we have taken on the invisible maze. So that's kind of layer number 1. In fact, you know what? We're going to go from the bottom. Okay, so layer number 1 is currently a button-based system, but later on in this episode, we're actually going to change that up to something a little bit more exciting. So that's that one. Layer number 2 is then the button-based system. Layer number 3 is the invisible maze, which I have built thanks to your comments, and that has really, really helped me out, because that was such a smart idea, something that I hadn't thought of, but to kind of segment it like that, and make it just smaller challenges that the player has to take on, that really does help out the impossibility situation that we had going on beforehand. But we still have 2 more layers to go, I would say. About 2 more layers left to go. And I want to ask you, what should I do for them? You guys are super creative. I've been reading through all your comments, and they are, honestly, there's so many good ideas in there, and I'm trying my best to fit them in with all of the Hermitcraft episodes as I go. But I actually want to ask you, what should I do for these layers? Now, I want you to put your ideas down in the comment section, and if you see an idea that you really like and you really want to see me build, then hit the like button on that comment and try and get those ones to the top. And obviously, the ones that have the most upvotes, I'm more likely to see them, and thus I'm more likely to do them. And of course, if one has like thousands and thousands of likes, then of course I'm going to be like, well, people want to see me build that, so I'll try my best to build it. So that's kind of the plan here. I'm going to do like a user-submitted maze-based building system. I hope that sounds good. Let's pop back onto the Hermitcraft server. Now, I have to say, that was surprisingly quick, simply because I've learned a new technique, something that I hadn't thought of doing before, but that is to align myself with the screenshot that I have. So I have a screenshot of the maze from my redstone testing world, and I have it open on my other screen. And when I was building the other layers, I would kind of walk around like this and do all of this and just get lost. Essentially, I would get so confused because working and rotating shapes in your brain is a little bit of a challenge. Some people are really good at it. I myself clearly am not particularly very good. So what I've done is, for this entire thing, I actually worked in the same direction as the screenshot is facing, and that allowed me to just get everything done without running into any issues whatsoever. So that is a bit of a top tip for you guys if you are wanting to build mazes. That's definitely the way to do it. I feel there's a chance that that previous clip didn't make any sense whatsoever. Just basically point in the direction that your screenshot is pointing in. I don't think I can say it any simpler than that. Anyway, it is now time to take on the next project, which is to place in the roof on this thing. Now, so far we don't have any lighting involved, so I thought I would go all out with it. We're going to cover this thing in sea lanterns, which is now looking lovely. I wonder what this place looks like from inside. Like some kind of crazy science research laboratory. I think that's the way that I'd describe it. And I've also just realised I actually haven't placed in the doors just yet, which is going to be a bit of a pain in the backside because I've now placed in the roof, so I'm going to have to go through the maze to actually place in each one of our doors. Okay, that seems like a good idea to me. Now this is actually going to act as a bit of a playtest for the maze itself, and we've literally just completed sector number 1. So we'll place in this door, and once we go through, that locks us into this next section, and then I need to try and work my way through. And I can promise you, it's harder than it looks. This is a lot of trial and error here, and I built it. I know where I'm meant to be going. That took around about 12 to 15 minutes, I would say, very roughly, which I would argue is probably the perfect time. You know, it's not so long that it's horrible. It's a horrible experience, but it's not so short that there's no challenge. You kind of run through it, which is something that I've been really trying to aim for with this entire project, because I don't want the hermits to hate this. I want it to be frustrating, but I don't want them to hate it. But I also don't want it to be super easy and they just breeze through it. So I would say that is good for this layer here. And next up, what I want to do is kind of change up the button mechanism for the layer down underneath. I want to add in some of your suggestions involving coats. I have to say though, it's going to be a little bit trickier than I was first expecting to do this, considering obviously we have everything built. I'm actually going to have to solve the maze to be able to place in the things to make the maze harder. The good news is, I was looking for repeaters and I found them. Bad news is this. It seems that no matter what I do, when you unload chunks, it kills redstone contraptions. Yep, as expected, I've got myself legitimately lost in my own maze. Okay, so there's a loop there. That's a dead end. I totally thought that was going to lead back to the chest. Where on earth have I put it? Where on earth have I put it? It should be somewhere around here. So here we have the take a key chest. They have to take a key from this chest over here and place it inside this chest to open up the piston door, which is somewhere. I don't really know where it is. Okay, we took out the button to place in that chest, so now we go through into the next section, and then we'll do that for the other side as well. This is so confusing. Finally, this thing is now done. I kid you not, this has taken a very long time just to place in a few hoppers and a few chests with items on the inside. I can't believe it. But I suppose that's what you get when you're working in a maze and you've designed a maze that's actually quite complicated and you're trying to find places to put things in the maze. Naturally, it's quite difficult to find those things again. So I spent a lot of time just charging about up here looking for the things that I'd literally just placed about 30 seconds ago. It was driving me insane. But anyway, this is now done. We now have a code-based system for the bottom layer. So it's code-based on the bottom layer, and the second layer from the bottom is the one where it's button based, and then we have the invisible one, and then the other two layers that go above it are going to be something completely different, and we'll work on those in a future episode of Hermitcraft. So I thought the next thing that I'd do is quickly pop over to Cubfan's place to see how the world map is doing, and I have to say I hadn't seen this. This is next level. Check out the upside down animals, the cloud. Wow. Oh man, that is really quite something. Anyway, regardless of that, if we take a look down at the bottom here, the maps should be somewhere. Oh, whereabouts are they? There it is. Holy mackerel. I mean, oh, there I am! That's me! That's the base! So there it is, right there. That is the Mumbo Jumbo base in terms of scale for the entire Hermitcraft map. Now, this is mad. The fact that Cubfan has actually mapped out this area, I cannot even begin to understand how long that would have taken, because this is a lot of flying. A lot of flying to cover up this much land. But look, we can see, I think that's Scar's base there. So that place is pretty huge. I'm guessing that's Tango there, the red. I think down there that's Iskal and Rendog, I imagine. I'm not 100% certain. I'm guessing that's Exumavoid there. Yeah. Oh, this is a really cool project. Really cool work by Cubfan here, and his base is insane. I haven't been over here in ages. There's so much going on. I feel like I should try getting all the mob heads. That's something that I haven't really done. It does make me feel a little bit less cool about my own map, though. This is nowhere near as impressive, is it? Anyway, outside of comparing map sizes and all that other childish stuff, we are going to do some work on the aquarium, and there is some serious stuff that I want to try my best to design. Number one is I want to try and come up with a design for the corals, okay? I really want to, and I want to make them work. So we're going to get stained glass involved and everything like that. Number two is I want to make a Bumbo Caroloni, or Coraloni, I suppose. And number three is... oh gosh, I've forgotten. So this is kind of like my plan. My plan is to create systems a little bit like this. So have, I don't know, slightly more sophisticated corals, I suppose. This is one of the pink terracotta ones. And if we take a look from back here... I don't know if I've got the right idea or not. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of growing to like this area here, but I'm hating what I've done with this. So that can go, and I would say just this sort of section here, maybe just expand it a little bit and kind of merge the two into one another, adding in some glass, maybe some terracotta in some of the gaps. Yeah, this is going to be one of those ones where it is going to take a lot of place and walk away. And then place, and then walk away. It's one of those projects. Okay, so I have been at this for just over an hour now. And this is what we've got so far. You know, it's an odd one, because it does look pretty good. If I look over here, that looks pretty boring and bland. Whereas this is definitely oceany, but I feel like I might be overdoing it. There might be a little bit too many corals in this area. I almost feel like I'm tempted to take this one out. That might remove some of the clutter. But then maybe we'll have one up there, kind of stretching across, and maybe a little bit of tiny coral action going on here. It's difficult. It's so difficult. I don't build in this sort of way. A few extra bits and pieces have been added on, so we've got some red going on here. We also have some extra coral up here, a little bit there, a little bit here and there. It's looking good. I mean, oh, it's so difficult to know. I played a lot of Minecraft today, so I might have to do one of those poll things where you tell me if you love it or you hate it. I might have to do one later on in the video. It also doesn't help that this area is basically unplayable because the sorting system is currently fully in gear. In fact, it's so unplayable that the sounds aren't working. If you listen out, look. Do you hear that? All the sounds are getting cut short because there's so much sound coming from the storage system. Now I am genuinely very curious to see what this actually looks like. What I thought I'd do is try and make like a ruff. It's meant to look like a coral, but it's also meant to look a little bit like Mumbo cactoni. I'd say we've almost nailed it. Maybe sort out his arm a little bit. It's a work in progress. It is a work in progress. I think maybe if we add in some extra things around here and maybe add in some extra stained glass around as well. We do have a little bit of yellow, which could be quite good. We're kind of dotting it around here. And making him merge in with the environment just a tiny bit more. But no, he looks okay. Oh, this is difficult though. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sadly, the super smelter is fresh out of coal, and also it doesn't make sense to smelt small quantities of items inside it because that just wastes loads of coal. So we're playing the waiting game. In fact, there is another furnace here that I could make use of. Well, this is what the aquarium is looking like for the time being. We have got a lot of bright colours going on, lots of things occurring. I'm not 100% certain that everyone's going to love it, so I am going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to remember to put a poll on the screen right now to let me know if you guys like the corals that I've put in here or if you absolutely hate them. Those are going to be the two options. Do you like them or do you dislike them? Please let me know, and then we can decide what to do from there. And if you guys don't like them, then I suppose we'll call this gal in, because I do feel like this place does need a little bit of sprucing up. And you know what? One thing I want to do, that's one solid line. Anyway, we can do that. We can do that in the near future. But for the time being, unfortunately, that is actually all I've got time for today. Now, before I go, I just want to say I do apologize that this video released just a tiny bit late. It's come out one day later than you would probably expect. And that is just simply because I was picking up the 100 horsepower Panda. As you guys know, I've been talking about getting this Panda for a little while now. I've been rejigging my car situation, and I decided to go for it. They're dirt cheap, and they're hilariously good fun. Like, seriously, seriously good fun. If you've never driven a 100 horsepower Panda before, then you totally should. And if you're looking for a first car, then it's definitely one that I would suggest getting, because it looks much cooler than the standard Panda. It's still a Panda. It's not the best looking car in the world, but it's like a go-kart. It's seriously like a go-kart. I absolutely love it. So I've got that. I'm picking up the camper van today as well. That's all been fixed, so that's now roadworthy and ready to drive about. And then the C63 I do still have, but the chances are I'm going to be getting rid of it next year and swapping it out for a classic Italian sports car, such as an old 105 series Alfa Romeo, or for example a Lancia Fulvia or something like that. So that is all to come at some point next year. I'm very excited, but I'm absolutely loving the Panda, but I apologise the episode was late. It's going to be back-to-back Hermitcraft episodes, Thursdays and Fridays this week. So you can look forward to Hermitcraft tonight, which you've just watched, and also tomorrow's. Not too bad. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button. If you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.